So what are you thinking on this, on top tips? What would be your top tips for this?
So, top tips. There's a multitude of tips.
Yeah, there is.
I think, and something that's funny, something that you said in our conversation before we started recording here, I think is a really important one, where you said that you made yourself a coffee and thought you would just lie your head down and have a nap and knocked out because you're so exhausted.
3 hours.
3 hours. I wasn't going to say how long you had gone, but
that wasn't a nap. That's what people sleep in a night. Yeah, I had a coffee, just lie down here.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello. Hi, Moira.
Hello, dear Deb. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Likewise. I'm awesome.
Great. That's the way we like it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to today's conversation.
Oh my God, today's going to be a fabulous one. So I have to giggle just before we hit starting on this. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm going to talk about here as I wear my favorite outfit. So welcome, listeners, for joining Debz and Moira's deliciously motivated mindset conversation.
Yes.
God, that sounded like a mouthful, didn't it? Deliciously motivated.
We cover so much, though, so it's going to be.
We absolutely do. So if you've listened to us before, fabulous. If you haven't, boo-hoo.
Well done for showing up today.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining. And what we do is, one of the things we do is at the start of each podcast is we rate ourselves. And that is on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being chaotic, frenetic. What is frenetic a word?
Frenetic is a word.
Yep. It is frenetic.
And that would be out of 10.
Okay, perfect.
Frazzled, chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just cray in the corner rocking.
Yeah. All of that.
I can get into. Yeah, that's the one. And then a 0 is, like you've had your like you've had your favorite, you've been waiting for that glass of water and you just have that first mouthful, even just holding that glass. That's a 0 where you just can feel it.
Yep.
I want that right now, because clearly I'm not a 0. And so what we do is we rate ourselves a 0 to 10. And then halfway through, there's a little check-in for you to check in where you're at again. And then just see, and the intention is to shift you up to that 0. And then at the end, we do it again as well, just to check in with where you're at. So the intention is definitely to shift you and not put you down close to the 10. And if you can let us know the numbers, bring them into our Facebook page.
Yeah, let us know where you are to begin and at the end. That's the whole. It's a
super awesome way. And when Moira introduced us, it's a great way for me. I was like, this is a bit different. And it's a great way throughout the day just to, if you feel things are wobbling, to go, no wonder I'm an 8. When I woke this morning, I was a 2. No wonder I'm actually a bit grumpy because this and this happened or whatever. So once you get yourself into that consistency of doing it, you'll actually find it'll flow more easily and it won't be as stop-start. You'll just go, this will explain why I haven't eaten. Like yesterday at 4:00, I realized I was cranky, hadn't eaten. I'm like, all day. I'm like, no wonder I'm feeling more of a 7 or 8. No wonder, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Eat. And as soon as I ate, I went, right up to a 1. It's how quick it can jump in Debz world when you eat. But it's just showing you, it actually just allows you to recognize what it is. And you can label it just to go, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in saying that, now we have to rate ourselves. So, so Moira, what number are you on emotionally, physically, mentally, right here, right now?
So I was dithering. I do this dither, like, am I this or this? Am I this? I'm going to say
You
3.
can't have mind talk. No, you can't do 3 because that's what I was going to do. Okay, so you hear us arguing already. We haven't even started the podcast. You can't have 3. I was a 3.
That's funny. I was going to say 2.5, but I'm like, no, I'm 3. Okay, so we're both at 3. But, we should maybe go back and see all the episodes, because this has happened quite often. This is not scripted or
Actually,
prepared.
it does. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, listen to me. No, first world problems. I'm a 3 as well, and I'm actually I would say I'm a 2. Like everything's good and in order, but I've just moved, so there's a little bit of boxes all around, which I'm actually okay with. But my throat, since talking to Moira this morning, has got to a big, hefty frog that's jumping all around in my so that's why I've jumped myself to a 3, because I would have said a 2.5, and I'm like, no, it's actually bigger than that, because you're having to mute when you talk to Moira. So that's funny. So we're both 3s.
So we're both 3s.
Oh, and I'm still on crutches or a moon boot. So
I know,
well,
because that's part of, like, it. We were talking about that before we hit record. It's interesting that both Deb and I are going through some physical
upheaval
at the moment, and so that's part of mine, is that emotionally I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling kind of tired today, but in a good way. Like, and then this topic that we're going into, I'm interested. It's like I'm interested for myself, but I'm also interested because of seeing you with the frog and thinking, well, there's something here. I mean, it's we mirror one another too. So let's go and discover.
And which is an amazing topic for us both to shift that 3 closer to a 0 or closer, and also to deal with whatever we've got going on in our lives, because these podcasts, our podcasts, are definitely for our listeners, but they're also for us as well. I get great insights from Moira. She's got a little bit of wisdom there, and I get great insights from myself. I go, oh yeah, what about that? When you say that, yeah, that's gonna work.
I love these. I love that because we bounce off each other so well, and yeah, there is some wonderful co-created, and yeah, we both get nuggets. Unscripted. The only thing that's scripted is the title.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and that stays firm.
And then we go from there.
So today's title is Top Tips to Maintain Balance During Emotional Upheaval, which is us right now. I know, just even saying
deep
that.
Breath. Yeah.
Because we both had an injury. We both This is a great one. So top tips to maintain balance. Oh, doesn't that just sound beautiful? During emotional upheaval. Oh, yes. I'll take 100 of those. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Or just give me 3 or 4. That's fine. So what are you thinking on this, on top tips? What would be your top tips for this?
So top tips. There's a multitude of tips.
Yeah, there is.
I think, and something that's funny, something that you said in our conversation before we started recording here, I think is a really important one, where you said that you made yourself a coffee and thought you would just lie your head down and have a nap and knocked out because you're so exhausted.
3 hours.
3 hours. I wasn't going to say how long you had gone, but
that wasn't a nap. That's what people sleep in a night. Yeah, I had a coffee, just lie down here. 3 hours later, and people are walking around me.
but that's where I'm coming from, is that it's so important to create some moments, even if it is that you just stop with that coffee, or you stop and put your hand over your heart, take a few deep breaths, to then just see, what do you need? Do you need more sleep? do you need to focus on your breathing? Do you need to go outside? Do you need to change your posture, move your body a bit, or just talk lovingly to yourself? I think those all go so tightly together. I think the very first tip, though, is awareness of the emotional upheaval, that it's an emotional upheaval, that it will pass, that you will get through it. But while you're going through it, you may need to wrap yourself in a loving blanket. You may need to sleep more. You may need to meditate more, right?
I think awareness is a massive one, but also what goes with awareness is don't be afraid of it, like trust it.
Yes.
Because when you can go, oh, I've got this, oh no, I don't want to do this, or this is happening, you know, and then that label of awareness or that word of awareness it's so heavy, like it's just awareness. To me, it's just like that. So instead of just going, oh, I'm aware of this, I need this, or this will be great for my body, or this will be great for a conversation or whatever, and actually going, okay, that explains it, instead of going, oh no, I don't want that. Oh, and so not running from that awareness when you've found out what it is.
Right. And so then the awareness is the look what I get to deal with, not look what I have to deal with. There's just watching the language there. But you know, it's interesting because awareness is the first step of my letting go process.
Oh, is it?
And the second step is acceptance, because that's the other part that I think is really important.
Yeah, that's
emotional upheaval, right?
Yeah,
is that it's to just accept it. It's not to say, oh gosh, I don't want to, or this is not okay, or this is too chaotic, or right?
Do you have that saying, it is what it is? I hate that saying, by the way. Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'm like, I know, but don't tell me that. But it is what it is. But that is actually it is what it is. That's it. I can hear the door going. I can hear the clinker, clinker, clinker of the door.
Oh. So that was what
going
it
for
is.
a walk. Yeah. That's my awareness. It's like, what is that noise?
But you know, when we get to that space, because that is acceptance, saying it is what it is, that's how we can facilitate change.
Yeah.
Because if we don't get there, then we can beat ourselves up even more through emotional upheaval, right? We can get into places like beating ourselves up because we're not as resilient as we think we should be.
Yeah, or comparing yourself.
Yeah, that's such a huge one.
Comparing is just an ask no questions. But I think once you're aware, is then you can actually go, okay, is it really important? Like, you can question it when you're ready. Like, is this really important? Is this really important to me? Is it important to other people? Does it have to be done right now? Like, what's the time frame? Like, okay, I'm aware of it, so can I just leave it for a bit and ponder on it, or, you know? And so I think that's that thing, is the level of importance of how important is it to you, not to your partner, not to your children, not to anybody else. How important is it to you?
Yes. And then once you have that answer and you accept it, then you can see, like, in that process, just the awareness and the acceptance, you may actually get a sense of, yes, I'm aware of this issue and I need to do something about it right here, right now. And so it's like, you know, cancel all my appointments, put everything off, create this space so that I can sit and journal or speak it out, or take a day off, or go and sleep, or whatever it is. But you see, the thing is that when we're going through emotional upheaval, it's really, really important to, you just said it is what it is. It's emotional upheaval. So it's an emotional upheaval, whatever that translates to for you. But don't get into holding on to it all with a big story. Because what can happen is we get stuck in oh my God, I'm feeling this, so therefore, and we create all this story around it.
That story.
That can actually be part of comparing too, can't it?
And so it's letting go of the attachment, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Emotional upheaval can, if you don't deal with it, can cause physical, definitely, but it can cause so much mental chatter that can take a little bit longer. The longer you leave things, if you don't deal with it, it can cause mental chatter and emotional, and just it can have bigger repercussions if you don't deal with it. Like you think about a pot boiling on the stove, and you know it's boiling, but you don't turn it off and you just leave it there. What's it going to do? It's going to boil out. It's going to ruin the
pot.
Yeah. If you got anything in the pot, it's going to smell, and it does have that cause and effect to it, instead of just getting up and taking the pot off, or even just turning it off and letting it do it. And I think that's the thing, is the longer you leave things, so don't be afraid of the confrontation or the conversation you're going to have with yourself over dealing with stuff.
I like that analogy a lot, because if you think about you putting a pot of something on the stove to boil, you're going to put it on when you know that you can stay in the kitchen until it's ready to turn the burner off. Right?
Yes.
So you're not going to put it on when you've got a million other things to do. You've got to make phone calls and answer emails and go and run errands.
Yeah, you're not going to go, just need to pop out of the house for an hour.
Exactly.
It's all about your timing, basically, isn't it?
Exactly. At your timing. And so therefore, let's say that an emotional upheaval, or allowing this thing to bubble over, let's say it's something that in your awareness and acceptance little steps, it was something I need to deal with this right away, but you don't have the time to sit and allow the emotion to sort of basically flow through you. That's what these emotions.
So what you're saying is, it hits you, you're in the supermarket, you've got a million things to do, and you're just like, okay, great, let me have my mental breakdown. I joke about the wording mental breakdown. Yeah, let me have my emotional upheaval right here, right now, in front of everybody.
Aisle 5.
Yeah, when there's a fire drill going on, and there's let me just bring it all on now.
Well, this is the time, because I know that life happens, and we can be in situations where you do need to continue, you do need to finish getting the groceries, or
get in the car before you.
But something that I actually and I've talked a lot about this over the years, is do something tactile. So I actually just tap with the middle finger, I tap on my third eye, which my forehead, and you can either tap or just make a little circle.
I'm just doing it, by the way.
Yeah, we're both doing it.
Although I couldn't find my third eye, I was tapping in my forehead and my hairline. Yeah.
So basically what that's doing is, energetically, you're acknowledging, I see this. And then as I'm doing that, I'm kind of making commitment to myself. I can't do this right now. I can't have this emotional upheaval, or the tantrum, or the crying fit, or this
timing ain't going to work for me right now.
Not right now. But I will come back to it. I will honor it. I'll sit down at 7:00 tonight when things have calmed down, and I have some time to sit and feel the intensity of what it is. And what happens with that, I find, is you are able to get through whatever it is you're doing, and then come back to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't do this. I don't do the tapping personally. I don't. And all I do is I just tell myself, okay, I'm going to deal with that later, and it's definitely going to happen before I go to bed tonight. And I'll put it in my diary.
Yeah.
So I put it in my diary. I go work out whatever I've got to work out, and take that time, and then ensure that I've done it, because I've acknowledged it. I've gone, okay, and I've given it some. I've given it a respect. Would be it. I've acknowledged it and given it a respect to go, I'm going to work on you, just not now, because I've got this and this. And I tell myself that, and I maybe I've trained myself that I just go, okay, that's what I'm going to do, and I tell myself that, and I do it. But I like that acknowledging. I like the tapping of the forehead or the rolling around, because it just actually does that whole confirmation back into the brain of I'm going to do this.
Yes.
But you must give it that respect of I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah, you can't do something like that and then go, oh no, I'm too tired, or fob it off, or do something else instead. The reason that I say the tapping your forehead or your third eye area, or just doing that little circular, is because anything, and it doesn't have to be your forehead. I like doing that because that's our chakra to deal with insight, and it's your mind, you see. But you could
there's a reason.
You could tap your fingers, or you could tap your collarbone, or you could just rub your fingers together. Anything that we do like that brings us into the present moment. But trying to run away from something or stuff it down can sometimes drag us out, into the future. Oh my God, what's going to be like if I don't get through this?
I know, and I think, and that's the stuff that, and I call it running a marathon. You can run a marathon in a minute of worst case scenarios, and your mind can go, oh, what if this happens, then this happens, this is it. And like sometimes people come to me and they go, but what if this, whoa, have you ever seen that in real life, that has happened?
Yeah.
No, but I've heard about it. How did you hear about it? Well, I watched this movie, and it was a sci-fi movie, and it was about when I was 17 and they're like 50, and you're like, oh wow, no. Yep. Is this realistic? Yeah, because I saw it, and I've held on to that. Like, okay, calm your farm, says my cousin Ben. Calm your farm. Let's just get right back there. But it is that whole you can run a marathon in your mind, and don't think that we don't. Like when Moira says to me, let's do a what number are you? I'm like, oh my God, what number am I? Am I this? Am I this? Am I this? I run very quickly that marathon, but mine's more a lap. Yep, okay, I've got my number. Yep. But we, no matter how spiritually aligned you are or aware or anything, we all still do run a marathon. But if you can control that marathon.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
It's an important part to just have an awareness of it too, right? So here we're going back to awareness. The thing I think of is, when we can get in that marathon, oh my God, what if this, and what if this, what if this? At some point, it's kind to ourselves to say, wait a minute, what if it did go well? What if it did work out right? You say, what if it all fell apart and I failed and everything went to hell in a handbasket?
I love the way she says it, and I go, what if it's just a crock of shit and it's a story that you just keep creating? And Moira's like, what if it did go well? I'm like, what if that's a crock of shit? Isn't it really?
Well, there's that there too.
But what if it is? What if what if the roses that you plant actually do bloom and there's no weeds? Oh my God.
Yeah.
What if? And then you're like, oh no, that can't happen to me because I've had things before happen, and I'm not worthy of that. And then guess what? That marathon's running a freaking marathon again of the jug, the pot boiling over.
And then you're not, so then it's like you're allowing yourself to be run by your thoughts and your emotions rather than recognize that you are the viewer of them. You're the experiencer of them.
Yeah.
So when that kind of thinking gets a bit overwhelming, like what if I fail and what if it all falls apart, is to maybe look at creating some way of talking yourself off the ledge on that one, basically, to say, whatever happens, I can deal with it. Because let's face it, none of us are ever in
so funny
that we can't deal with.
I was just talking to a client last night who was messaging me about a few things, and I messaged her back. I said, you've been through far worse than since the time I've known you. You've been through far worse that would have lots of people rocking in the corner, and you've survived everything. What makes you think that this is like a 10? Because the way she was portraying it was a 10. I'm like, this is not even a 10. This is a 3 on the life scale of wobbling. You've been through this, and I never told her all the things. She never reminded her. And I said, you've been through absolute chaos before, and you survived, and you've got out the other side laughing about it.
Right.
And she's gone, actually, you're right. It was something she said, actually, you're right. This is nothing. Oh, okay. Good night. I was like, oh, okay. And there you just dumped me. Thanks very much. But it's those things that we've been through. Absolute chaos before.
But that,
I mean,
sometimes it's having that person that says that to you that you need, right? I know that I've had situations where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know that I can deal with it. I don't know. And then if I say that to somebody that knows me, and they'll say, oh, for God's sake, Moira, but you've done this and this and this and this and this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, this is nothing.
I know. It's funny. Yeah, it is when you do sometimes need that other the outside slap. Boom. Yeah. But you've done that. Oh, that's right. I did too. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
You know, and that experience, I survived that experience, and I'm laughing about it. And now I've built my business around it, or blah 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 blah. And you're like, oh, actually, this is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is nothing compared to where I've been. And I think that's the experiences we've had all give us our history and our knowledge and our skill set to deal with emotional upheaval. Because what, like I've injured my foot, and I've moved house, and I've been in a moon boot for too long now, 2 weeks, or a week and a half. Actually, it's probably only a week and a half, but it's a week and a half too long. And I know, and yes, it happened that I had to be moving house and packing houses and offices and everything, and it's been a little bit chaotic. But I know, and I trust, and I think that's the big thing, is I trust, and I know that I have an incredible amount of support. Now, if I was 18 and having to move house or having to move jobs or something, I would hate to have a moon boot on. I'd be like, oh my God, someone's going to look at me. Oh my God, they're going to have pity on me, or they're not going to offer me jobs because I've got a moon boot, or I'm accident prone. And my mind would go into crazy. Especially if you had to go to a job interview and you were on crutches. Or you're in a moon boot, you'd feel, if you're 18, you'd feel inferior. I met a person yesterday, and I had no problem. So I go, what happened to your moon? What happened to your foot? And I sort of said, fell over an electrical cord, which is actually probably more embarrassing. I wish I actually had something more exciting. Fell over an electrical cord, hit the fence, fell down the fence, slid down the fence. My main concern was all the splinters in my wrist. That was more of a pain. But at a young age, without all my life experiences, what I'm saying is I would think of it differently.
Yes, of course. And the impact is different because of where you are, where's your conscious level, where's your life skills level. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Like there is a book, I remember reading a book many years ago, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. You're like, oh, it's hard. Yeah. It's easy for you to say that. No, I need to sweat this, and I need to sweat this, and I need to worry about this. Actually, you know what? No. And my partner, she says, what does she say? Lose the battles to win the war. So she'll lose a couple of battles in her mind. She'll say these are a little couple of battles to win the bigger picture. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't lose any battles though. And she's like, no, you haven't got that philosophy yet. But it's part of the letting go. It's like, okay, lose the battles to win the war, and not looking at the big stuff and what you can do.
It's always coming back to what can I do, and understanding that we are emotional beings. And so I think that in this idea that we're looking at tips to maintain balance during emotional upheaval, is the biggest thing and most important thing is to watch the labeling or the shaming or the inner criticism about the emotional upheaval in itself, because we tend to, we label things as good and bad, right and wrong. And it's like, no, it's just an emotion. And I also believe that all emotions that we experience are actually demanding our respect.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you, and so that demanding your respect is just a level of, we talked about awareness and acceptance right from the very start.
Mhm.
Oh, I get that. Okay, that's that. And I don't have to go, why is that happening to me? Why me,
Exactly.
not her?
Yeah.
Why him, not me? Any of that BS or whatever. It's just like, okay, I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's a thing of not sweating the small stuff, because
Mm.
it's like, if sometimes it'll be like, oh, I thought it was more evolved than that. I wouldn't go through these kind of emotions or situations.
Yeah, I
As
know.
opposed to just saying that it's where I am.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that. I love that these are so simple for this. And when we talk about that inner criticism with yourself and your shame and guilt, shame and guilt is a destroyer until you acknowledge it. It can just affect your mindset, your physical, your anything and everything around. And this all, I'm going to bring up Moira's favorite, actually one of my favorite things is her PEMS,
Right.
which is your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being.
Yep. I said the pillars, the 4 pillars of you.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. And so your inner criticism of yourself, also all this stuff that we're talking about today depends on your PEMS, where you are. So today I could say to Moira, what have you done with your hair? And she can go, I know, I've been out in the wind, isn't it great? But tomorrow she may have had a nightmare of a day with her hair, and I'll go, what have you done with your hair? Just by the way, Moira, it actually looks no different. Just have to say that in case Moira's like, but tomorrow, but tomorrow she may have had a nightmare of a day, and she ran out of shampoo and the hair dryer, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's the stuff that can tip you depending on your PEMS. Right. And so that's, how we talk about our rating at the start. That's a great way to check in with us and just go, today someone commented on my hair, and it's because I had this and this chaos this morning, or this emotional upheaval. And so just recognizing that, being that aware and acceptance and recognizing that right from the start, you're like, oh, well, that explains that then.
Yeah. And so then there's no stickiness. It's just kind of, okay, I get it. That's how come that comment upset me or triggered me or brought up a feeling of whatever. Right. Something that, just to circle back, you were saying about shame and guilt. Those are just they're destroyers. They can be such destroyers to us.
Have we done a podcast on shame and guilt?
I believe we have, but maybe we should do more.
Because I think there's a lot, and like even just saying the word shame, when you said the word shame and guilt, it just was woomph. It was like a brick coming down, like, whoa.
Right. So a tip that I often share about that, though, is that yes, we can look at, say, a choice that we did in the past, and we might have a bit of regret and, I wish I'd done something different. And that's okay. You can just acknowledge that and move on. But other times we get and it's when we regret it, and then we get more and more ruminating, and that's where the shame kind
that's
of
the Pac-Man comes in.
Yes,
Pac-Man.
exactly.
And runs his story.
Yeah. And there's more narration in your head now. But the key piece here is to get yourself to a place of understanding that you did the best you could with what you did then, what you had then, right? So that's actually a form of being abusive to yourself. If you look at a situation, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even a year ago or a week ago, that version
if you've had no sleep,
but that version of you is not the one that's sitting here right now saying, that's feeling calm and collected and wise and peaceful, then says, look what I did there, and that's terrible, and I suck, and right, I need to do reparations.
Yeah, I think, and going back to how we were, going back to how I was 5 years ago, my decisions right now would be different.
Yeah.
But would I change those things? I've had to go through my past life past life. I have to go through yesterday's activities and moving back and actually go, you know what, I wouldn't change that because this is who I am today. I mean, I am today.
It's what brought you here. Yeah.
Yeah, because of those experiences. And shame and guilt will stagnate you, stop you, trap you, immobilize you, all those things until you learn to look at it. So I think the other thing during those emotional upheavals, once we've gone through these little steps, is actually then deal with it.
Yeah.
And once you've gone through that, is actually deal with it. Reach out to Deborah or Moira. Reach out to us and deal with it, because there's different levels that you can deal with that emotional upheaval. But give yourself some credit.
Yes.
Give yourself some credit that you've got this. And back in the day, I talk about this with my mentoring group. Back in the day, I used to have an issue would come up, or I'd go from 0 to 100 or something, anything. I say back in the day, that's yesterday as well. Back in the day. But whenever an issue would come up, or I'd go from 0 to 100, or someone would cut me off driving, or something would happen.
Yeah, I can relate.
Well, look, I mean, I've just moved house, and yesterday I put my desk together, and they've chipped my glass desk. And I went, oh, you freaking useless men, blah, blah, blah. My mind just went, and then I went, oh, this glass matches the other side, I'll just turn it around instantly. So I went straight into blame, and then instantly I went into this is actually a lot easier than I thought. It's not as chaotic as what I thought. And just with that alone, I just went straight into strategy mode of let this go. It's not the big issue, and deal with it. And I think that's the thing, is just not running from whatever it is.
I love that. And I completely agree with you, because in a scenario like that, I can relate. I moved too, and there was very few things got damaged, and but it's to keep coming back to, I'm responsible for me. I can't control the treatment that other people do, or how they operate in their jobs, but I can control and manage and deal with me. So I love what you just said, because sometimes we need to feel that irritation or that damn it type of vibe, but just let it come, and that's processing the
celebrate it
coming through
you. So when you get that icky, celebrate it and go, oh, here's a goodie I haven't dealt with before. Oh, here we go again. Oh, I thought I dealt with that. No, you didn't. So celebrate that awareness or that accountability, like celebrate it would be it.
And then see, what can I do?
Yeah.
Because now, I like to feel responsible and things flowing and balanced in my space and in my life. And so, but we do go on those bumpy rides sometimes, and that's what this would be.
Yeah, you're human.
Yeah.
Don't be unrealistic. Don't just go for peace, because there's going to be a bit of war.
Can't have one without the other.
Exactly. Can't have the clog going. And the other thing is, I would say another tip would be gratitude. Gratitude to where you are, gratitude to where you've been, gratitude to where your vision's going to go, gratitude to those around you who have helped you, who haven't helped you. Just gratitude, and gratitude to yourself all
Even
around.
Gratitude to the things and the people that irritate you, because that like, to your point, that's like, oh, you just get to discover something.
Yeah, not just gratitude to
release.
The weeds, to the flowers, gratitude to the weeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I'm aware that we've got our time here, and I've done a quick recap here. So because we talked,
clever.
I know for once, but I had to jolt and go things. So I think I've got this one here. So in case you didn't get your pen and paper, oops. The things I had here were top tips to maintaining balance during emotional upheaval. Number 1 would be awareness and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Don't run from it, get to deal with it, and get to deal with it, not have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I
definitely.
love that. I freaking love that. Yeah. Number 2 was respect.
Mm-hmm.
So give it some respect. And that's when Moira talked about your third eye on your head, or in any kinesthetic. I put mine in my diary. So give it some respect, whatever it is, once you've been aware and you've accepted it.
Yep.
The third is the importance of them? Is this your importance level, or is this somebody else's importance level, and the stories that come from it, which is all still part of that awareness and acceptance. Oh, that explains that. That explains that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Be aware. Number 4, your inner criticism. Criticism.
Yes. Banish that shame and guilt.
Oh, yuck. Even just saying those words, shame, guilt. Yeah. Number 5, accountability to me. And I've got my emotions, accountability, take accountability to, this is mine to deal with. This is not my partner's, this is not my boss's, this is no pointing the finger.
I'm the boss of me.
Yeah, I'm the boss of me. Celebrate it.
Yeah.
I'm the boss of me. And the last one is gratitude. Oh, actually, I know I've got another one.
Oh, but gratitude is the perfect bow to wrap that all up.
Okay, well, so number 6 is reach out to us, and then
and then gratitude to wrap it all up in a bow.
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
so reach out to us, to Moira and Debz. We have different styles of education, but you'll understand that by now.
I know, different flavors, but we agree on so much.
We do. And then the very last one is absolutely gratitude.
Absolutely.
So I think I captured those. Is that
I thought that felt beautiful. Well done. Kudos
just for
to
the record,
you.
that's the first time I've ever done that.
I know we've talked about it before, but well done on you for actually actioning it. But
I talked about it for 2-3 years.
Yeah. But so as we wrap this one up, and listeners, if you rated yourself at the beginning, it's time to check in and see how are you now. And oops, gonna be checking in with Deb too. So this is where we check in on that scale of 0 to 10 and see what did it move. And if it did move further up, like let's say you were at a 2 and now you're at a 6 because you're thinking, oh my God, I have all these things to do. Deb's given me all these tips. Deb and Moira shared all these tips, and now I have some. It's okay. It's okay, because this scale moves all the time. We can go up and down. This is just an awareness thing. It's a beautiful tool to tap into those 4 levels of you: your physical awareness, your emotional awareness, mental, and spiritual. So all that being said, you were at a 3. We were both at a 3 to begin with. Where are you now, my dear?
I'm going to say 0.5, because I'd like to think I'm a 0, but I do have a little gooby in my throat.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about how your throat was.
But I feel really invigorated.
Good.
I feel really invigorated after today. And if you could see my office, could see what it was like. There's definitely some emotional upheaval and other stuff. So I'm going to say a 0.5. Just because there's a little tiny little niggle there, but I haven't had to mute, I don't believe.
No, I don't think you did. Very.
I feel light, refreshed, like any stuff's popped.
Awesome.
What
For
about
me,
you?
I'm at a 0.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really, really good. I loved the dance we took this one on. We felt like we went into some really good places, but also some places. So you know what? I said I'm at a 0, but I'm going to put myself at 0.5 because I just popped that there's some pieces that I want to dive into when we were talking about the shame and guilt part, to work on that a little bit more. So I'm thinking, that's like you. I'd like to say I'm at 0, but there's stuff there.
I love that. So you know what she just did? She just went awareness and acceptance. And then she just did number 2, respect. And she did, I'm not going to go down the whole thing, but absolutely. And number 5 was accountability to me, her emotions. So she just Moira literally just did the checklist right there.
I modeled it for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Perfect way to end this our
show today. No. Okay, just as well I've got another one next week. Oh.
All right, dear Deb, this has been awesome. Thank you. And thank you to our listeners. Be back here with you next week.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.